I awoke moments before the crack of dawn, far before the sun had yet to eke through the horizon. My eyelids still drooped as our I thought I was gonna say fearsome. As our foursome reached Shirakawa Castle's outskirts. Oh man, I'm so worried. You know it's coming, right? I don't want to see these boys die on me. I anticipate no shortage of traps to signal our arrival, but so it begins.
Yup, ready when you are. Chizuru, stick close to me, got it?
Yes, I know.
Enough talking, let's do it!
Just when we nodded at one another, the creak of the castle gate startled each of us.
Oh, are they welcoming us in?
Well, but they've already figured out that we were coming. Keep your guard up, boys. Beyond this point, rational and human minds are gonna be something of a short supply.
I don't need you to tell us. We already know.
Heisuke's not having it.
Boy, it's a ghost town in here. I expected there to be Furies, or anyone really, patrolling these corridors, but...
Yeah. A sense of dread began to fester inside of my stomach. The air was heavy, making our scouting mission feel more like a trudge through an irriguous fog? I don't think I've ever seen that word before. Irriguous? Whatever. More bothersome, however, was the foul, rusty odor of blood, which worsened in stink the more I began to fixate on how the humid air stuck to my skin. Just then... Have you noticed too, Sakamoto?
Well, duh. I've been stabbed to death. I'm well acquainted with the scent of blood.
Just when Ryoma said that, he instinctively grabbed a hold of my wrist and yanked me away from the sliding door. Ah! We were stopped dead in our tracks when katana blades poked through sliding doors in the hallway, ripping the paper doors to shreds. Nice reflexes. They stabbed and stabbed, eager to break free.
Ah, they're finally here! You're all a bunch of pansies for trying to get at us from behind closed doors, you know!
Heisuke unsheathed his own sword and swatted at the incoming blades, tearing the doors to pieces. Then Heisuke raised his knee and kicked the door. Waiting behind it was a bevy of Furies, licking their lips in glee like wolves encircling their prey. And behind them was... There's our dear old dad who just, slunk away last time.
So you've come, Chizuru. I was growing tired of waiting.
Father! As my eyes became locked with Father's, an uncontrollable rage consumed me. Were you continuing your fury experiments here? You used Ryoma and his comrades, the warriors of Tosa, like nothing more than test subjects.
They agree to it. No coercion necessary. For the past 260 years, they've been under the heel of the Tokugawa shogunate and its privileged retainers. They were biting at the chance to inflict their revenge. I merely gave them the tools to do so. The consequences hadn't seemed so dire then.
Listening to Father's stoic delivery made my blood boil, and I reached to unsheath my kodachi. But just then... Sakamoto, take Yukimura and find the leader of the Furies whom you've been seeking.
But...
We have some unsettled business with Kodo. It would be unwise to put all of us at risk in the interest of stopping one man. Besides, time is of the essence. We mustn't waste it. Ryoma furrowed his brow, refusing at first to yield Sanon's command, until finally...
Got it. Don't take too long. If neither of you make it, this one will never get over it.
You're right. Thank you, Ryoma, for looking out for me.
And if you upset her, then you'll be upsetting me, which is something none of us want, right?
Right back at ya! You'd better survive before we meet back up with you guys.
Alright, Chizuru, let's go.
In my heart, I had wanted to make Father keenly aware of the contempt I had towards him, but it was a selfish decision, as neither Heisuke nor Sanan would have wanted me to distract them. Then... Sanan, Heisuke, please be safe. I have faith that we'll all be together again real soon. Don't worry. Serving as colonel of the Shinsengumi taught me more than a few tricks to stay alive. Sanan smiled wryly and bowed his head slightly. Oh, Sanan, you just didn't want to have her watch you gut her dad. I know you too. You as well, Heisuke. You got this. Without looking over our shoulders, Sakamoto and I sprinted toward the large staircase. By the time we had reached the top, I was nearly out of breath. Lo and behold, Nakaoka had been waiting.
I have expected you two to be digesting inside of the Fury's belly instead of coming to meet me. But perhaps when confronted with true horror, you learn that ducking and running is easier, eh? Too late for you both, though.
Nakaoka, why don't we put an end to these games already? The war's almost over. The Satsuma Choshu are going to be the ones carrying the future of Japan in their hands going forward. No matter what you do, the Tosa aren't getting a slice of that power. Sure, you could use Furies to spill some blood, but enacting real change is out of our reach, old friend. We were played. This shouldn't surprise you. It was made clear to us the day they had us killed.
Shut up! If history's gonna bury us anyway, then who'll take up Takachi's mantle, huh? Who's going to avenge our Tosa brethren?
Nakaoka lashed out at Ryoma, drawing his katana from the sheath of his hip. His aura glowed with enmity as he turned into a fury. Oh boy.
Chizuru, stand back.
Ryoma and Nakaoka stood opposite one another. Their friendship had been tested by war, blackmail, manipulation, and even death. At this point, attempting to use reason felt like a hollow gesture. Please, don't get hurt. Save Nakaoka and the rest of your fellow Tosa men. They all need you, now more than ever.
Yeah, I know. The only thing I've got left to do in this world is settle things with him.
I slowly pressed my back against the wall, hoping not to stray within range of their duel, even learning from Amagiri. Eventually. Nakaoka moved first, leaping from the ground. The earth shook as he kicked upward, pointing his sword's tip toward Ryoma with his weight behind it.
Gah!
By the skin of his teeth, Ryoma had managed to evade being struck and fired his pistol. Oh, Ryoma got first blood.
Ah!
The bullet grazed Nakaoka's shoulder, splattering a ribbon of blood onto the wallpaper behind him.
I can feel the wound stinging more than usual. Those are silver bullets you've got, aren't they? Nothing to be afraid of!
Nakaoka retaliated with a sequence of slashes, swinging his blade with a wanton, sloppy technique. Ryoma, however, blocked each move with ease. Nakaoka sneered, hiding his fatigue by the end of it.
You think that stupid pistol's gonna save you against my sword?
Ow.
Gah!
With a well-timed hit in the gut, Nakaoka caught Ryoma off guard before stabbing the sword into his shoulder. Somehow, Ryoma managed to fire off his pistol.
Gah!
The hall's narrow shape gave Nakaoka the weapon advantage over Ryoma's long-range pistol, but even so, Nakaoka was incredibly vulnerable to even the slightest touch of silver, giving Ryoma an edge. Halting Nakaoka's ability to regenerate his own wounds was enough to push the battle in favor of Ryoma, and Nakaoka let out a chilling scream. Oh no.
Gah!
Nakaoka's black coat was becoming drenched in blood, dripping into a thick puddle beneath him. That he was still able to stand was a testament of his strength, if not his stubbornness.
You idiot. Really given it your all. If you showed a shred of this conviction back when you were still human, we could have changed the world.
I don't know about that. Nothing would have changed.
Look how bloody these two are. Good grief.
There are limits to what we can accomplish. A man is just that. Alone.
Nakaoka desperately gripped his katana. It was clutched tightly in his hand, but his fire was fading as the massive loss of blood began to take its toll. His knees buckled before he toppled to the ground. Friend. Ryoma stooped down and held his dying friend tightly in his arms. Aw. I had a feeling this was going to be the ending CG for him.
A long time ago, it hit me. The Tosa could never measure up to what the Satsuma or Choshu were capable of. We were pawns. Nothing more than dirt to them.
Aww. There was a derisive smile on Nakaoka's face.
Yodo and all those damn retainers used us as a stepping stone to gain favor with the Empire of Japan. The Satsuma Choshu knew better than to sacrifice their own men to the water of life. It's so unfair. We were punished for our ambitions, for daring to dream of a life out from under the foot of our oppressive rulers. We live, we shit, we die. We thought we made a difference, but we were never even close. Heartbreaking, isn't it, Sakamoto?
All along, Nakaoka hadn't just wanted revenge. He fought for respect in the eyes of the Tokugawa clan, for the dignity of the people whom he believed deserved more than the flawed feudal hierarchy.
Yes, it is.
Tears glistened in the corner of Ryoma's eyes as he listened to his friend speak intently. It was a dream the two of them shared together, once as best friends and still as adversaries.
Hey, Sakamoto. Although things never turned out for the Tosa quite like we dreamed they would, if he were here to witness things for himself, you think Takechi would have been proud of us?
Like I said, a man is only capable of so much. Plenty of men can come forth to carry on the legacy the Takechi passed down to us, even among the Satsuma and Choshu.
Ah, I guess.
Hello? Eventually, Nakaoka's gaze drifted toward me. His glare, which was often contemptuous or disconcerting, was replaced by an earnest smile. For once, I could envision them as friends.
Take care of him for me. If you don't keep him on a tight leash, he'll promise you heaven, and damn well might take you there. Just promise me that you won't let him go.
Okay. As badly as I had wanted to assure him, I was keeping myself from breaking down. I feel you, girl. Ryoma, too, was fighting back tears. I felt like a witness to an intimate moment which shouldn't have been shared with me, but here I was. He's passing on the care of Ryoma to you, Chizuru. Even so, I took a moment to collect myself and found the will to speak up once more. Okay, I will. All you need to do now is rest, Nakaoka. Once the words left my mouth, the muscles in Nakaoka's face softened from relief. And then... Oh no, he turned to dust. That makes it so much sadder. His flesh was slowly beginning to crumble like the ashy, burnt end of an incense and disappeared. Ryoma heaved a heavy sigh, letting go of the pain that he had been keeping pent up inside of himself. Once Nakaoka's remains had been reduced to dust, neither Ryoma nor I moved a muscle. I jumped as the door behind me slid wide open. Had Sanan and Heisuke arrived just in the nick of time? Is this nick of time? Timing? Sweat began to coat my palms, despite my best efforts to rub them dry in an anxious fit. Oh, crap. No, Dad! Now I gotta kill you to avenge Sanan and Heisuke. I kinda had a feeling they would have been like, hey guys, right away. Ryoma had to deal with his friend dying, and now Chizuru has to deal with her dad dying. Here we go.
He's defeated Nakaoka.
Father! How did Father appear here all of a sudden? If he was standing here, then did something happen to Sanan and Heisuke?
Do you not want to come with me, Chizuru? If you still find the idea repulsive, then I shall permit you to bring Sakamoto along.
Girl, why? I could?
Now that he's a Fury, I don't think he could ever truly re-enter human society. Not in his state. As far as the rest of the world is concerned, he is dead, buried, and forgotten. If you give me your word that you'll join me, then I vow to you that I will accept him as the leader of the Yukimura clan.
Yeah. Yeah, Ryoma. Get Dad.
Don't let him fool you, Chizuru. Nakaoka, the Tosa men, and even Kaoru Nagamo. He deceived all of them.
Ryoma spit a mouthful of blood out of his mouth as he pointed his pistol towards my father. I know that.
All out of bullets. Don't insult me by pointing that children's toy at me. Do you think I'm threatened by you at all?
Father smiled eerily as he pulled a scalpel from out of his pocket. Just then... Alright, you guys aren't dead yet. Father did the slink away move again. Probably was like, alright, while the Furies are dealing with them, I'm just gonna sneak upstairs and wait for my opportune moment.
Aw, come on, man! Don't tell us you've forgotten about us already!
That voice! Yeah!
Pardon the slight delay, but it appears as though we weren't too late.
Sanan! Heisuke! Relief washed over me in spite of their blood-soaked attire, which gave their appearance a nightmarish quality. They're fine. Everyone's covered in blood. It's fine.
Well, well. Managed to survive, did you? That was no small troop of Furies either. The two of you seem fatigued. I can't imagine that you'll be able to stand for much longer.
Perhaps, but it will suffice to deal with the likes of you. Kind of ironic, wouldn't you say? Without your medicine, neither of us would be here standing in front of you, ready to deliver the justice that you deserve.
Sakamoto, take her and get her out of here. We'll deal with Koto.
Are you sure about that?
Of course! We've been saving ourselves for this moment!
Sanan and Heisuke could barely support their own weight. They were disheveled with serious wounds. It was inconceivable that they could stand, let alone do so with a smile.
Let's go, Chizuru.
Initially, I resisted. Part of me had wanted to stay behind, bidding farewell to two men who had done so much for me. But I knew they would refuse. I let the image of Sanan and Heisuke's gallant posture burn in my eyes. Thank you both. Then Ryoma and I broke off into a sprint. What lads?
I'm sure we can take a breather now. You alright, Chizuru?
Yes. All of my emotional and physical exhaustion came to a head and I dropped to the ground. Far away in the background was Shirakawa Castle, which stood majestically in the center of a bleak field.
Sounds like they managed to kill every last one of the Furies. By the end of the day, one of the Imperial Army or the Aizu will be in charge of that castle. Regardless, my duty is done. I've accomplished everything I set out to do with my second life. Which means that the rest will just have to be dealt with by whoever lives long enough to pick up the pieces.
Ryoma turned his solemn gaze over toward the east.
But... man, seems like today's a scorcher, doesn't it?
Ryoma, get into the shade!
I'm fine. Have you forgotten? Unlike those Shinsengumi Furies, sunlight doesn't do a thing to me.
Are you sure? You're not forcing yourself, are you?
Course not. Man, you'll never trust me, will ya?
It's not that I don't trust you. I'm just worried is all. Ryoma shot me a tender glance and reached over to comb my hair gently with his thick fingers.
Thank you. I pity the men in this world who aren't as lucky as I am to have you in my arms. You are a thing of beauty. I promise you this. Once this is all over, I shall never tire your worrying heart ever again.
Promise?
Why, of course. Shall we seal the deal with a kiss?
What? Here? Now?
No one's watching. It'll be fine. Come on, close your eyes.
Upon Ryoma's insistence, I shut my eyes, and just as our lips were about to meet, cue Shiranui. That was leading up to such a Princess Bride ending. Oh my goodness. But I'm like, look, Shiranui's consistent, man. He's here for all the lovey-dovey stuff. Oh, that's great.
Oh, yikes. Leave it to me to pick the perfect time to find the two of you about to suck face. You should know better, considering this place is swarming with Imperial and Aizu men alike.
Ah! Shiranui!
I'm starting to think you're actively seeking us out whenever we're trying to spend quality time.
Don't blame me, fool. It would happen less often if you weren't trying to snake your way into her pants without a care for the world.
Call him out, Shiranui! Shiranui, what are you doing here? Have you followed Father here too?
I have, but... unfortunately for myself, all has been resolved before I had a chance to deal with it myself.
Got that right. If you've got a problem with it, I suggest you take it up with the Shinsengumi boys.
Ha! Guess again. I'd sooner slit my own wrists than air my grievances in front of worms who are minutes from being totally crushed by the Choshu.
Choshu? The Satsuma Choshu, you mean?
Nope. It's always been the Choshu. The Satsuma were simply along for the ride.
I was once inclined to think that you had no desire to help the Choshu if it weren't for Takasugi, but... now I think you've always been a real sucker for the Choshu.
What? Don't be an idiot! I'll shoot you full of holes, boy! Ha 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 ha!
Shiranui chortled at his own joke, turning to look over his shoulder back at Shirakawa Castle. Boy.
If the Aizu fall, then that spells the end of the once great shogunate army.
Yeah, I would assume so. What's that mean for you, then?
Now that the stain of Furies has been rid of our world, I no longer have reason to involve myself in the affairs of humans. Thus I shall live my life as it was before I met Takasugi. Peaceful and quiet. And I guess I'll wait and see what kind of country the Choshu are going to make. I look forward to it, actually.
I've got a feeling they'll steer it in the right direction.
I sure hope so. Anyways, I'm out.
Shiranui spun on his heel and sauntered into the forest. You sure you don't want to join us on our boat trip around the world?
Alright. Well, why don't the two of us write a little history of our own?
History of our own?
Yeah. Didn't I promise to show you the world?
Well, yes. I remember, but... Are you really going to keep your promise?
Of course. Impossible. I don't know the meaning of the word. Follow me.
Ryoma beamed as he skipped towards me, and... He swept me off my feet, lifting me into his arms. Stop, my heart. Ryoma! I can walk on my own!
Doesn't matter. Let me do this.
With one chapter of his life ended, what future did Ryoma plan in store for himself next? With everything up in the air, it was easy to worry. But, even so, knowing that the two of us could finally be together made it a future worth looking forward to. Oh, Ryoma, you're such a goofball. That was a lot of fun. That was good. There was so much good in that. The only thing that was kind of... I wish had been done a little bit differently, I guess I should say, is... It kind of bothered me that we didn't get to see Dad be defeated. It's just kind of like, and he died off screen. Like, Dad was weird in this one. And then Sana and Heisuke show up and they're like, we got this, guys. I know that he doesn't have a scratch on him and we're both, like, seconds away from turning into dust, but trust us, we can take care of him. At least on the plus side, I didn't have to watch them die. It just kind of felt like Chizuru didn't get any closure as far as Dad was concerned, but at least she had, like, a really nice closure with her brother. That was the nicest Kaoru, Chizuru moment we've had in the entire game. So I was pleased by that. I'm glad we finally had that happen, because I've wanted that desperately forever. So that was nice, and there was so much romance, and there was fun times, and there was smooches, and now we got a boat ride coming up. I mean, there's so much to like. Man, this guy is such a handful, though. Oh my goodness. Chizuru will be kept very busy for the rest of her days, that's for sure. Man alive. It was nice, too, that we actually did get some interaction with the Shinsengumi boys. I didn't think we would at all. Which makes me curious for Chikage's route next. Since, I wouldn't think we would have any interaction with them there either, but anything could happen, right? Alright, epilogue time! I'm sad Nakaoka had to die, though. I kind of knew that was going to happen, because the two of them were so stubborn, one of them had to die. And it was a very tender goodbye, but... Oh, I really did love Nakaoka. Come on, final chapter. There you are. I know you're there. Let me see my boating CG. I'm here for it. Alright, we're on a boat! This is a big boat! Ryoma managed, as he often did, to pull some strings together and contact his friend, Iwasaki, who was more than willing to offer him a vessel to sail. A warrior of the Tosa domain, who was a close friend of Ryoma Sakamoto's. Under orders of the Tosa domain, he managed the accounting records for the Kaientai, I think. Thus, our new journey began. He looks so happy.
Oh, the scent of the ocean brings me back to life.
Is her haircut really short? Or is it just, like, hidden because she's right against him? I smiled, realizing it was the first time I had set foot on a ship with Ryoma. He was in his element at last. There was a spring in his step, as if his sea legs evoked an energy not present when he was on land.
Oh yeah, do you remember? A long time ago, I mentioned how, in the West, men and women go on little trips after they wed.
Yes, you mentioned it in a letter you wrote to me back when I was in Kyoto.
Now, I know Japan's a big country and all, but would you believe we're the first honeymooners ever?
You might have a point there. As I became acquainted with Ryoma, I learned never to be surprised by his antics, but even still, he found ways to surprise me, to warm my heart at a moment's notice. Ryoma, what's the plan after we finish our overseas trip?
Well, let's see. We can visit various countries, try our hand at some trading, and amass a fortune. And then, I'm eager to hear rumors of our exploits, where a swashbuckling hero and his bride support Japan from the shadows.
I gasped, being taken aback by the brevity in his answer. But... right. Well, I'm sure you could make that happen.
Right. Doesn't sound too crazy, does it?
That's the look. Like, oh, you. Ryoma gazed back into my eyes with a childlike sense of wonder.
You be sure not to leave my sight, you hear? I don't want to miss a single moment of having you next to me. With your love, the world is our oyster.
Right. A strange twist of fate brought us together, but here we are, brought together by the most random of circumstances. In Ryoma, I found someone with a lust for life, second only to his love for me. It only felt natural that I dedicate the rest of my future to him, to become his until the end of time. As the tender rays of the sun kissed our skin, I made a vow to hold on to his love forever. Aww, how cute. You crazy honeymooners. Hopefully Shiranui will let you have some peace, finally. Alright, what's our achievement? Come on. What's it gonna be? Happiness is a warm gun. Oh no. Oh no. Is that a gun in your pocket? Are you happy to see me? Oh, amazing. Yay! I love that. I'm so glad I was able to enjoy his route so much more this time around. Now that I wasn't like, he's gonna betray her though, I know it. That was just me, the entire Kyoto Winds route. That was great. The only thing that they didn't really touch on, which was strange, I don't think there was ever any mention of don't use your fury powers because you'll turn to dust. Even though Nakaoka turned to dust in front of him, like, it's not questioned at all. So that was the only niggly thing, but otherwise I loved how everything was handled. I am surprised too that Chizuru wasn't like, didn't mention the Shinsengumi at the end, considering she spent a lot of time with them. But I guess she had moved on by the time she dedicated traveling with Ryoma and stuff like that. So that does make sense too. But other than that, I really enjoyed it. Thank you guys for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this as well. And now that the good ending's done, it's time to move on to Unrequited Love ending next. So hopefully I'll see you over there, guys. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, I will see you later.